Gameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our preview of the 2013 Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl between the Kansas State Wildcats and the Michigan Wolverines. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with Kansas State.
Kansas State has done a great job all season long with their two-quarterback system with Jake Waters and Daniel Sams, and what that has done is kept defenses off balance all season long. And in this game versus Michigan, I believe the true wild card will be Kansas State's passing game. The Wildcats boast two big play threats on the flanks in Tyler Lockett and also Tremaine Thompson. In a short, quick passing game, putting the football in their hands early could level the playing field and make life that much easier for John Hubert in the running game. Defensively, the Wildcats will face an inconsistent yet talented Michigan offense with the new quarterback in Shane Morris. Now, what has to happen is that the front seven has to be able to show different looks to Morris in an attempt to get him to hold on to the football too long or force him to throw into a trap defense. So I will get creative with both defensive end Ryan Mueller and middle linebacker Blake Slaughter and utilizing both guys in different zone blitz looks. Now let's move over to Michigan in this ball game, and the Wolverines are far from a bad football team, and I think head coach Brady Hoke has done a sensational job, and they've lost 3 very close games this season, 2 of which in overtime, and they're not that far off. On offense versus Kansas State, the biggest key will to try and out-athlete the Wildcats. We know Michigan has a lot of speed and quickness on the flank, so I'd work that angle in the passing game while going more with your influence blocking-based running attack. That's your traps, your draws, your wham plays to try to take advantage of an over-aggressive defensive front, all of which could help ease freshman quarterback Shane Morris into the ball game and make him feel that much more comfortable. Defensively, discipline will be the key versus the running game of Kansas State. It's all about doing your job, and now with Jake Ryan back in the fold at linebacker, the front seven is very strong, which should give the Wolverines more confidence in playing this offense and being able to win at the line of scrimmage to force Kansas State into obvious passing situations. The X factor for Kansas State will be their defensive coordinator Tom Hayes and what he has dialed up for freshman quarterback Shane Morris. They're not going to be facing Devin Gardner, who may miss this ball game, which means they're going to have a freshman back there at quarterback. Better believe Kansas State will apply the pressure early and often. And the X factor for Michigan will be their offensive line, more in particular the offensive tackles. If they're able to keep those edge rushers at bay of Kansas State, it gives Shane Morris a lot of time back there in the pocket to find his receivers and get the ball out of his hands quickly. And also in the running game, you have to make sure they seal the edge in the running game to allow Fitzgerald Toussaint to get to the outside. And if they're able to get the running game going, that also helps out the young quarterback back there in the pocket off of play action. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For Kansas State, you want to make Funchess ineffective. That's the outstanding tight end for Michigan. And the way you can control the middle of the field, you have to take away the tight end. So I would also alternate responsibilities, coverage responsibilities for Ty Zimmerman and Dante Barnett, the two safeties back there, to try to take him away. And third down defense will definitely be important. Michigan thrives off mistakes, and the biggest one you can make in this ball game is allowing them to sustain drives. So you have to be able to get off the field on defense, and you have to play Kansas State football. That's regardless of the start that Michigan has. They can start off fast. They can get out to a 14-0 lead. Stick with the script. Patience on offense and fundamentally sound defense could lead you to victory. Now for Michigan in this ball game, nose tackle Quentin Williams versus Kansas State center B.J. Finney will be the biggest matchup. Stopping the spread is all about getting interior pressure, and this is the biggest battle defensively that Michigan must win. And they have to play the perimeter game on offense, take advantage of the athleticism advantage that they have versus Kansas State, getting guys like Jeremy Gallen, Drew Dillio, Fitz Toussaint involved in the passing game in space. That way they can have some success. And on defense, I will go with straight cover 2 or cover 4. You want to keep everything in front of you versus a team like Kansas State, and that way you also will be in better position to stop the run. Now here are some 2014 draft prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. For Kansas State, the mammoth offensive lineman Cornelius Lucas, 6'9", 330 pounds, but definitely has the footwork of an athletic guard. So very intrigued by this prospect moving forward, as well as Ty Zimmerman, the solid safety at 6'1", 204, outstanding ball skills. But keep an eye on B.J. Finney and Ryan Mueller, 2 junior prospects that could be the best at their position as seniors. I love what they both bring to the table, especially Finney on the inside, and Mueller's a guy that can definitely bring pressure off the edge. And there's a boatload of prospects for the Michigan Wolverines, starting with the outstanding offensive line prospect Taylor Lewan at 6'8", 310, a guy that can't play on both ends of the line of scrimmage. Jeremy Gallion is a guy that definitely had an outstanding senior campaign. Love what he brings to the table as a slot receiver as well as a returner. Ramon Taylor, an outstanding junior prospect, along with Desmond Morgan, two young future stars for this defense. And on the offensive side, back again, Michael Schofield, solid offensive tackle at 6'7", 304. I like him moving forward. And Fitz Toussaint, glad he was able to bounce back from that injury last season. 5'10", 200 pounds, definitely has that shiftness that you want as a second or third back on your roster. The Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl was once called the Insight Bowl, and in the 2006 game, the Texas Tech Red Raiders took on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and the Gophers held a 38-7 lead with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and that's when the Red Raiders, led by quarterback Graham Harrell, stormed back to put up 31 unanswered points to send the game to overtime, where Texas Tech would go on to victory in the largest comeback in bowl history, 44-41. The 10-1 Kansas State Wildcats took on the 9-3 Syracuse Orangemen in the 1997 Fiesta Bowl, and Syracuse jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the first quarter before quarterback Michael Bishop and the Wildcats offense found its way, outscoring the Orangemen 35-15 the rest of the way, and thanks to Michael Bishop's 4 touchdown passes, they were able to knock off Syracuse 35-18. Michigan faced UCLA in the 1981 Bluebonnet Bowl, and the Bo Schembechler-led Wolverines were held in check offensively for the most part in the first half, but poured it on in the fourth quarter as that big Michigan offensive line began to lean on that Bruins defensive front, and the Wolverines pulled away from UCLA to win 33-14. One of the most accomplished quarterbacks in program history was Lynn Dickey, and in 1970 he finished 10th in the Heisman Trophy voting and also finished his Wildcat career with the then program record 6,208 passing yards. Running back Ron Johnson is definitely a campus legend. He was a consensus All-American as a senior in 1968, who versus Wisconsin that year ran 31 times for 347 yards at 11.2 yards a carry, which is a Michigan record that still stands to this day. I like Kansas State in this ball game. Two things you know about a Bill Snyder coach football team: they won't beat themselves and they won't be out of place defensively, and I think they'll do a great job in making life uncomfortable for the young freshman quarterback Shane Morris, and on offense they're doing a great job in keeping your defense off balance with the 2-quarterback system. So I think the Kansas State Wildcats will come away as the 2013 Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl champions.